Yo, Top Billin to ya. I Top Billin and keeping up with my series where I go back and look at certain individual matchups that I would like to see rematches for. My man Richard LeCounte going against that freak checkmate Kyle Pitts has to be at the top of the list, at least towards the top of the list, right? So they only took a few reps against each other, and normally you would not see Richard LeCounte go against a tight end because he's normally an open side help defender. With that being said, the reps he took against Kyle Pitts was pretty cool, right? He had something go on at the beginning of the game that kind of set the tone, I think, for the entire game and fired everyone up as he's been known to do. So not sure if that'll happen like that this year. There's actually somebody at the very end that I'm going to focus on here that I would like to see match up with Kyle Pitts. He didn't get a chance to necessarily do so in this particular game, but definitely wouldn't mind seeing a rematch of some Richard LeCounte versus Kyle Pitts. All right, let's not mince words here. I expect Kyle Pitts to be at the very least a top 15 pick in the next NFL draft. 6'6", 240 pounds. He's one of those dudes that can work the quick game to perfection. His route running, very freaky for a tight end, right? Former wide receiver, still in the mode of a wide receiver. Got to see him really get his blocking up to snuff. But, man, even in the NFL, man, those move tight ends making a lot of money and making a lot of noise here. So I expect him to have a big year with Kyle Trask. You have 54 receptions for 649 yards and 5 touchdowns. Really came out of nowhere as far as the national scene goes, and it's just going to continue to progress this year. But check this out right here. 4 receptions for 78 yards. I believe most of that in the first half against Georgia. So he wasn't by any means shut out. I don't think they made a team that could shut Kyle Pitts out if they really wanted to just continue to target him, right? But maybe Georgia has the kryptonite for Superman. I don't know. Former 5-star recruit Richard LeCounte, safety going into his senior season. A very mercurial player, very impactful. I will say that he's an elite athlete. The guy can run like you wouldn't believe. He can jump. He's one of those guys, though, man. He can diagnose a play. He can sniff that bad boy out, but sometimes his finish leaves a lot to be desired. So that's something that we should see him definitely work on, come into his senior season and make himself into perhaps a first-round draft pick in his own right here. So he had 35 solo tackles, a couple of forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, and 3 pass breakups last season. Looking to build upon that, put himself right square in those draft rankings there. So he had 6 total tackles against Florida and 4 assisted with a pass deflection there. So there you have it, man. Richard LeCounte versus Kyle Pitts. Let's get to it.
What more can I say?
Top Billin. All right, so check out my man right here, the hacker, Dan Mullen, running with 0-2 personnel, right? So an empty backfield, but you see right here 2 tight ends, right? I think you got Dante Lang here and checkmate Kyle Pitts here. And from the top of the screen, you're going to have a quick curl by Tyree Cleveland and the inside fade by Van Jefferson. Looks like Josh Hammond on a quick slant there. You had Lang running what looked like it was going to be a sell route, but then you have the matchup right here to the boundary. They wanted a quick hitter to move the chains on here, right? I think it was just 1 yard they needed or something like that. I forget. It was something real short, and they ran a quick out route. We got Kyle Pitts here and Richard LeCounte here, and we'll let it roll right quick. So look at that. Kyle Pitts tried to run with the muscle on him. He tried to muscle him up. Solo up here. See Pitts get off the line of scrimmage there. LeCounte does a great job of just staying patient. Now look at him. He meets the contact right there, right? He absorbs the inertia by being first. Pitts kind of rounds this route off. I'm not sure if he didn't have respect for Richard LeCounte's pass defense, right? His pass coverage, which I don't blame him if you've seen him in pass coverage before. But LeCounte stays up in his hip pocket right here. Pretty good pass to the outside here. Tried to give him enough room that maybe he can jump up and out-muscle Richard LeCounte, but LeCounte showed himself to be worthy. Breaks up the pass. And, of course, he's Richard LeCounte, so you know he's going to let you know about it there. But that was a great defense by Richard LeCounte. The game within the game between the hacker Dan Mullen and Kirby Smart. So you have Kirby Smart, one of the better defensive minds in the sport, going against the hacker Dan Mullen, who I think is amongst the best of the best when we're talking about offensive minds, working with this empty set, trying to find the weak link in Georgia's defense. That's why I call him the hacker. He's going to find some type of weak link in your software or your hardware or whatever like that, and he's going to exploit that. This right here with these empty sets, being able to force Georgia's deployment. So if we see here, it's an empty set. He still have LaMichael P. here at running back. He's across from the cornerback Eric Stokes. So the fact that he's not across from one of these linebackers or maybe even Richard LeCounte, who probably would be a better matchup, then you can put Eric Stokes on a guy like Kyle Pitts, who you know right now is not going to be blocking. He's going to be catching a pass, so maybe Eric Stokes is a little bit better. But what that does is it forces Richard LeCounte back in the coverage, this time with a lot of space and distance. His proprioception, his ability to combat guys in space, not up to snuff, especially against a freak like Kyle Pitts, who is your ultimate chess piece there. So you're going to have some twin clear-out routes on the outside between, I want to say that maybe Trayvon Grimes up here, and I said P-Ron already. You're going to have an inside fade by my man Freddie Swain. More Swain, please. Inside fade. Josh Hammond running on the delayed crosser. And then you got Pitts running what looks to be more like a bang 8, so kind of a quick-hitting post. And Richard LeCounte with a two-way goal. You just could not combat that. Let's check it out. Oh, he barely stuck him, and look at the space. Look at the separation anxiety for Richard LeCounte. Like, wow, like a baby. Like, check this out right here. Working with a two-way goal. Kyle Pitts coming out. So, man-to-man, right? Look at, he barely stuck him. He barely gave him a jab, bluffed him to the outside, right, with the lead jabbed him, and look at that social distancing at its best there. Look at the separation already created. Not a good throw by Kyle Trask, the Trask at hand himself there. But Kyle Pitts catches everything, catches that in stride. It didn't really matter. He had enough separation from Richard LeCounte. And, man, I'm not sure what Kyle Pitts are running the 40, but when he gets it going, man, that long strides there, he's definitely a very good athlete. He's probably going to be better in the NFL than he is in college. Game definitely translates to the NFL there, but great play design by Dan Mullen. Explosive play. All right, this is an empty rep. But remember, I'm doing film studies, so it's really got nothing to do with the results of the play, just how it's derived. And I thought that this was a particularly good play. For one, we didn't have any other reps to work with, right? But this is one that I think shows a pretty good defensive strategy by Georgia here, working between Eric Stokes and Richard LeCounte. So they're back in this time a different personnel, right? You got two tight ends. You got 12 personnel, but they went empty, right? One back, two tight ends. Got Lucas Kroll here and Kyle Pitts here in the tight slot. Pitts is just going to be running kind of it looks like a seam route with kind of an inside stem to it to kind of get Richard LeCounte out leveraged. But Eric Stokes stays on top of this because it looks like he has a deep third of the field. So they're both working in conjunction here, kind of an inside-out defense. Stokes staying on top of it forced Kyle Trask to have to try to go to Lucas Kroll, kind of a fade route here. But if we can just watch Pitts here, Richard LeCounte in his pedal, and Stokes staying on top of it. He has his eyes on Kyle Trask the entire way because he's in zone. And you see the kind of the inside stab by Kyle Pitts, shoots it back up the seam. But Richard LeCounte is pretty much right there. He's gaining on Richard LeCounte right here, right? If Stokes didn't react to this definitely could have been a big hitter because he starts to leave Richard LeCounte behind there. You see him, Richard LeCounte in his hip pocket. The ball could have came over here and went to the outside. But if it did go that way, Eric Stokes was all over it. So it's a good inside-out defense there by Georgia on Kyle Pitts. Throws it to Lucas Kroll, and Lucas Kroll had nothing to offer there. All right, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the bully, Tyreek Stevenson. We see him going against Albert Okui-Bunam here, now in the NFL, one of the better tight ends in college football last year. I think this kid is a tight end killer. As a dime defender for them, getting to go against tight ends, even as a nickel defender, I think they should just use him exclusively on high-end tight ends if they have one of those on the schedule. I think he works well against that. We can see him work here against Okui-Bunam. Look at that. Transition, got him. Look at that. Trying to run an out route, trying to kind of muscle him. Now, he's not Kyle Pitts. Let's not get it twisted here. He's not Kyle Pitts. He's not as freaky with the short area athleticism, the short area agility here. But Stevenson does a great job staying patient. Man, who got away with a little bit of a hook there. But if they don't call it, it ain't a penalty. But, man, he makes a POB play on ball there. And he was just a true freshman, right? So a 210-pound cat like that. Honestly, I don't think Richard LeCounte has much to offer Kyle Pitts if it was a one-on-one scenario for the duration of the game or for the majority of the game. But Tyreek Stevenson may have something to say about that. I don't know what you guys think about that. Let me know, all you guys who are privy to it. I already know what this is going to turn into, so it's going to be one of my rare times where I'm going to say spit your game and talk your shit in the comment section with the Georgia versus Florida shit, because Georgia people are absolutely annoying getting on everything that I do with Florida, where you rarely see it vice versa. So, but this is the time I will allow that. So spit your game, talk your shit. But let's have a little bit of football analysis as well and tell me how you think these matchups will go down, all right? Make sure you like, tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. It's your boy Murf Baldwin, the Underground King. We're doing big things here at Top Billin, baby. We keep growing and growing, doing our thing. But always stay rocking with the king, all right? Peace.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.